I'm Peg Morup, and I joined the AWAS in June 1942, and I was discharged in June 1946. I think I joined the army because with a lot of girls, in an auxiliary thing, we did first aid and Morse code, and especially signalling with flags. We did that way, and marching. I was a very sporty person, and I think that sort of drew me to think of marching and all that sort of thing. And being an only girl, I was the only girl, I had two brothers. I got mixed with other girls sort of thing. The newspaper clipping was from the West Australian. And I said to Mum, can I go? Because I was only just turned 19. And she said yes, so I applied. And then one of the girls I worked with applied, so the two of us went together when we were called up for Claremont Showgrounds. And that's where we had our medicals. And then the next thing was on the train to Melbourne. I went to every state in Australia except Northern Territory and Tasmania. Oh, it was freezing in Melbourne. It was shocking. And we used to have to march first thing in the morning, and you go down in the river and you couldn't see. The fog was so thick. Well, that's when we used to sing. Well, it gave you the swing. It gave you the swing of your step. You're swinging your arms sort of thing, and it sort of came to the beat like beat of music. Quite a few lots of songs, you put different words to sort of thing. But any of the old Tipperary and from the First World War, all those old songs, we used to sing them. Long way to Tipperary. And they used to say, and one part was Tickle Mary, not Tipperary. Then in Northern, I went to Northern, and it was so hot. And all you had was a palliasse with straw in. That was your mattress, a palliasse. And in the winter, you had 2 blankets, and then the old greatcoat, that's the overcoat. It was just a big shed and all beds. And being an only child, only daughter, never had to undress in front of anybody in your life. And to have to strip and put into pyjamas in front of all these girls, I think that was the worst part. And one of our girls, we never ever saw her stripped. She got into bed and undressed into bed. And she was still doing that when we went to New Guinea. In 1945, I went to New Guinea. We had a great big fence around us and guards. You weren't allowed out, nobody could get in, sort of thing. Oh, there was about 6 of us, I suppose, about 6 switchboards in a row all together. And you all sat in a row with earphones on, sort of thing, and just plugged in. Well, we had a dance once a month. We had an army band came in. We had a big hut, and it had a big floor. And must have opened, certain units were invited to, so many men were invited for the dance, because we always had dance partners. And we had a band, good music sort of thing. And I had a partner who was a dance instructor. And he used to get me tangled up. We used to go on picnics. I went one weekend, we went on a boat, and being coupons for everything in those days, I had curtain material. I'd bought curtain material and made bikinis, which they were full top, full bottom, and a skirt went over the top. And we all were on this boat, and I got terribly sunburnt right across my middle. There was a time when we were in Queensland. We were stuck in Brisbane for 6 weeks waiting for a ship to take us to New Guinea. The girls wanted a drink, so we went in a hotel and just sat there and nobody came. Everybody else got served. And a soldier came over and said, "You won't get served because you haven't got a man with you." So he sat there with us while they got served. And then they had the one drink and then we went. I don't know, I think we would have missed it. After being with so many girls, then coming home and getting married, and you got nobody to talk to, only your husband. And it was just good to be with the girls, catch up on things and talk over old times. Gwen was in one of those photos, I was her bridesmaid, we were that close. And then after we came back, we used to go to lunch. There was about 7 of us, once a month, each house, different house each month. And all our kids sort of grew up together, and it was all auntie and uncle sort of thing. But we went to all the balls of work. We used to do a lot of balls in those days after the war, and we used to go to all those. My husband arrived in Australia when he was 8. He's Danish. The whole family came, and they went to Mushay. And they were only here 6 months, and his father died of bowel cancer. So the mother couldn't speak English. The boys had to his little brother was only 2, but the sisters and him sat in the classroom and learnt English till they could learn for schoolwork sort of thing. And then the mother was offered a job in Rockingham, so they went down to Rockingham. That's where I met him, in Rockingham, when I was about 12 years old, I suppose, sort of thing. And then he had to leave school to go to work to keep his mother and brother. He was up on farms, and then because he wasn't naturalised, he couldn't join the army. So he came down from Northern when he got 21, down to the Northern camp. And they said, well, you can't join the IOF because you're not naturalised. So they just took him straight into Northern and naturalised him, not like today. So he joined the IOF, and he was up in Labuan, Morup. He ended up 12 months on Rabaul. He had to clean all up after the Japs at Rabaul. And because he was single, he didn't have the dependents. He stayed there for 12 months, then he came home, and that's when I started to go out with him. His mother was living in the house nearly opposite my grandmother's holiday house. So that's how we met again. We all went to Meg's place in Leederville, because she never marched. She always reckoned she stayed home to get the place ready, meal ready. And we all went there for the day of the kids. I was marching one year, and my boys were up trees the same as out the front there. And as I marched past, they all yelled, "You're out of step, Mum." And there was a reporter underneath it. It was in the paper. I got caught out. I wasn't out of step, but the boys just yelled at me. Anzac Day is different for me now. I'm the only one alive. Being in AWAS was the highlight of my life. It's the best time I ever had.